I am Dolores Gordon here at the 9th annual showcase, Authors Showcase, at the Woodson Library. And I have the honor of interviewing Mr. Robert Graziano, and he is a reference librarian here at the library. So, Mr. Graziano, can you tell me, why has the Carter G. Woodson Regional Library been such a supportive partner of the Books Inc. Author Showcase?
Well, Chicago Public Library is always interested in authors, reading, anything that promotes that sort of behavior in our population. So throughout the year, we have authors come in to do presentations about their work, but this event has been such a dynamic thing for the community. It brings 20 to 30 authors together for a one-day session with just wonderful mini workshops that people actually learn things that are going to help them in their pursuit of a writing career. And so therefore, we love to partner with Constance and Books Inc.
Oh, yeah, that's wonderful. Actually, how long have you been with the library?
I've been with the library for 10 years.
Okay.
And I've been at every single one of the author showcases.
Oh.
In fact, I'm the representative here for Chicago Public Library and the author showcase.
Wonderful. Okay. That is really good to know. So tell me, as a reference librarian, do you get many questions from people who are interested in how to write and publish a book?
We get a lot of, as a reference librarian, we get a lot of questions regarding various things that will affect how the author is going to be writing. For instance, they need background information. They need things that they want to know what Chicago was like in the 1940s, where the community was, what were some of the drinks that were available. They want to know about rent parties of the 20s. There's a lot of resources that we have within the library system that can assist them. We're privileged here at Woodson to have the Harsh Archives, Vivian G. Harsh Archives, which is a bounty of information about that'll assist writers in really creating that narrative that they're going to need to put their authors or their characters into. So that's probably one of the biggest things that we do here is really when somebody's really looking to write, they have to really know what the community was like, what the environment was like that they're writing about. And so we assist authors with that.
You mentioned a couple of things that really piqued my interest. When you talked about people wanting to know what kind of drinks there were, you're talking about like for cocktail lounges? Those kind of drinks?
Cocktail lounge drinks, or just, for instance, you don't want to put something in your narrative that wasn't around at that time.
Okay.
So you don't want to say, they were drinking, let's say, Wild Irish Rose, when it just wasn't around at that time. For instance, it'd be hard to find Wild Irish Rose now, but in the 60s, it's what everyone drank at the 60s. Wow. Or some of us drank. Okay, let me just put it that way. So you want to make sure that your narrative is going to flow, that's going to be correct within that narrative that you have set up as your thing.
That is so interesting. I have not heard Wild Irish Rose, and I can't remember when.
Have you had it recently?
No,
See,
no.
It's just,
but I mean, I never did. But I mean, even hearing about it, I never, I haven't heard about it in so long. And the other thing that you mentioned that I thought was interesting was about rent parties. How did you know about rent parties?
Well, we have even CDs that are music from rent parties that are upstairs.
Okay.
We have lots of information regarding rent parties, especially with Bessie Smith and and her gang that used to be here in Chicago sometimes.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things and rent parties come up in a number of narratives throughout African American literature. So it's sort of fascinating to me that with the glory days of the resurgence of people coming into Chicago in the 1930s and 40s, they needed places to stay. They needed places to
Yes.
help out with the rent, oftentimes. So this is one of the things that we can do with them.
Yeah,
So,
that's quite interesting to me because you know, rent parties were some of my relatives talked about that. You know, and I can remember even within the last 10 or 15 years or so, I think there was even a play that came out of New York that was called Rent.
I believe so.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. And then there was also something here that was up north. I can't remember, but anyway, it was about rent parties. And I thought, golly, how many people know about this? You know, I guess a lot of people do.
A lot of people do, and a lot of people want to find out more information about them.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
come to the Woodson.
Yes,
Come to
yes.
Woodson.
Okay, so and you mentioned something about this next question that I'm going to ask you, and that had to do with what are the 3 questions that you hear frequently?
The most, I hate to say it, but you know, where's the washroom is one of the most prevalent questions that we have. But actually, in regards to authors and writing, I think one of the questions that we ask are asked most is, okay, I've written a book. How do I get my book into the library? I want to have my book in the library stacks. And there is a circulation and a collection procedure in order to get your book in. And any librarian will be able to assist you with showing you how to do that. It's a process that takes a while because each book must be vented. So, you know, make sure that it's worthy to be in a library. And that's done by professional librarians. And but it is a procedure, and so we can help actually with that question.
Okay.
Oftentimes, it's probably the one that the most of our authors want. I mean, they've published a book, they've worked hard, they want to get the most readership out of it as possible. Oftentimes, it's not about selling the book; it's about getting the readers to read, and so they want to see that presence in their libraries. So.
Well, that does make sense that they would they'd want their book read.
Right.
But you know what's always been confusing to me is that if putting the book in the library, how does that sell books for them?
It gets your name out there. Okay.
Okay.
So you could say that. There's a lot of privately self-published authors who want to get their name out there. That say, for instance, if you're in music, what you do is you go around to various clubs and get your name out there. Not necessarily selling your tapes, but getting your name out there. Same way with the libraries and library books or books in the library. You want to get your name out there. That's going to be, oh, here's this other library has collected this book. So this author is worthy of being in a library. Okay.
All right. So now how can Books Inc. Literary Services help to support those interested in writing and publishing books?
I think it's a great idea. So remember, there's a vetting process. So oftentimes, many times, and I'm on review committees, and I've done a lot of reviews of books for the American Library Association. And I can't tell you how many books that come through that haven't been checked for, like spelling errors, easy things. They come through and they have the sentences don't line up as well. There's the pictures on the pages don't have any relationship to what's being said. There are so many things that a literary service could do for these authors that would make it so much easier for them to make sure that those things that immediately are thrown out of a book is not even considered if those things are not in there correctly. So I think that's where really this would help. Also, I think the literary agent or the literary services would help them in just applying their task, like keeping them on track. Okay, you've introduced this one character. What happened to him? What happened to this character? Where is that character now? not that you have to put everything in the last chapter to make sure that that character, is sort of taken care of, but you have to have some sort of, sometimes you just forget, you're in the writing process, you forget, hey, you introduced this other character, what happened to him? So for those sort of places, I think that literary services would help. Also, oftentimes when we see a book that I want to review, I'll go to Amazon or one of those sources, and I see the author's name, and that's it. The author doesn't have a website, doesn't have Facebook. You can't find the author of the book that you want, and so it's sometimes I waste a half hour, 45 minutes trying to pursue an author's name on one of these sites, and you just can't find it. He has no Google presence, or if you want to say, a web presence. And so it's real frustrating because you think that this author might have something really valuable to say, but if you can't contact them and make sure that you can get, I mean, yes, I could buy the book, but usually it's for awards things that I'm interested in. So so I want them to actually know that we are pursuing those types of authors that might have something truly to say, and sometimes they're self-published. I think that it's important that the literary services would assist those authors in getting their name out there, making sure that they have a presence on the web, making sure that if they don't have a presence on the web, that they put an email address on the back of their book or something of that sort. Something to get in contact with that author. It's very important.
That is a very important point. I'm so glad you said that. That's something that can reach out to all of the authors as well. If someone wanted to contact you, what would be the process?
Okay, the process would be just, you could always come up to Woodson Regional Library. Any of our librarians would be able to assist authors. If they wanted my assistance, I'm here 37 hours a week, or they could email me at rgraziano, Graziano, at Chicago Public Library or shipublib.org.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. It's been a real pleasure.
Well, I'm glad that
I'm so glad that
interview me. Thank you so much. It was so nice of you to come here.
Thank you.
And also, I'm so appreciative to Books Inc. I mean, Books Inc. has just been marvelous to work with over the years. And so we're real happy. Chicago Public Library wants to do as many outreaches as possible to our community, and Books Inc. is really one of the best ones to work with.
Well, we'll be back.
Okay, good. We'll see you next year then.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.